Okay, so first I'll begin by just speaking of how I increased taxonomy during my task. So the very first thing I did was just made it a dual task. So I was studying for MS at the same time. This increased the difficulty of my task because it made my attention span a little bit wider. So rather than having 100% of my attention on creating my origami structure, it was pretty much split 50-50 between MS studying as well as my origami. The next thing I did was I changed the size of my paper in order to further increase my taxonomy. So originally I've been starting with a 20 centimeter by 20 centimeter paper, but in order to make it smaller, I started with a 16 centimeter by 16 centimeter paper. This increased the difficulty in my task because it made my movements needing to have a lot more precision and fine motor control. The third thing that I changed was my environment. So a majority of the time when I'm completing the task, I'm normally by myself within my room. But in order to further make my task more difficult, I performed it in my living room with my roommates around. The lighting is also very different in my living room. It's a lot more dimmer compared to the lighting in my room. So I believe all of those just increased the difficulty of my task. The distractions especially affected my taxonomy and my task because, as I said earlier, my attention was kind of split between MS and studying, so I had to really be selective of my attention with my surroundings, as there was TV going on, my roommates were talking, stuff like that. So the next thing that I will talk about is the stage of motor learning that I believe I'm in. So first, I believe that I'm in the associative stage of learning. Throughout my practices, I've really needed to rewind the video less and use a lot less external cueing in order to complete my task of origami. If I was in the cognitive stage of learning, I think I would need, that was kind of like representative of how I felt before, where I really needed to rewind those videos. I still needed to really understand the process. But I believe now I'm kind of more in that associative stage because I'm more refining the skill that I'm in with that strategy. So I'm not really using as much as the video. I'm kind of refining my own skill and actually able to kind of remember some more of the processes. Another thing that I believe puts me in the associative learning is the fact that I needed less external cueing. So overall, it took me probably about like 10 minutes to complete the task this time. So I would say that like normally within the other like times that I practice within like a 5-minute to probably a 10-minute range, but getting closer to the 5 minutes over the times that I practiced. With the session that I did yesterday, I was roughly around 10 minutes, and I think it has a lot to do with the difference in attention that I needed to have. So in other words, I don't think that I would be representative of somebody in the autonomous stage because the fact that I had less attention to origami did affect the performance of my origami. I will say, though, that over the last week, it has also been very difficult for me to actually improve the outcomes of the origami, like the actual structure, making it look nicer, more cleaner, which also I believe puts me in the associative stage of learning because there's like less variability and slower gains within that stage.